Let's move on now to the big story that we are looking at today. As you might have heard, there is a massive controversy that has erupted in the city of Ranchi. We have now found out that of the two people who have been arrested from the Missionaries of Charity shelter in Ranchi, one of them is a nun who is with the order started by Mother Teresa. The other one is someone who works with the shelter and who's been working with the shelter for a few years. Now, this individual called Anima, who works with the shelter, has confessed to selling 4 babies, 4 newborn babies. Now, this is what is happening. This is a shelter that takes in destitute women or women who are unwed mothers who need place and shelter in order to give birth. Once the baby is born, the mother apparently is then given a choice of whether or not she wants to keep the baby or she wants to give the baby up for adoption. As per on-paper rules, the baby which is given up for adoption should be handed over to the CWC or the Child Welfare Committee of Ranchi. What has happened here, from our understanding, is that these two individuals, a nun and a person working with her, have sold 4 of those babies to couples from a price of anywhere between 50,000 rupees to 1,20,000 rupees per baby. Our reporter Sandhya Gora is in Ranchi right now. She's flown out to Ranchi to get first-hand information about what is going on, and she's been working on this story all day. Sandhya, what have you picked up? Have you spoken to the police? What is the status of the investigation right now?
Faye, we started the day by speaking to the ADG operation of Ranchi Police, Mr. R.K. Malik. He said 2-3 points very clearly, that how first of all they received a complaint, an FIR from CWC about this infant being sold to a UP-based couple. Ranchi Police started the investigation and they initially arrested the staffer called Anima, and she confessed that it's not just about this baby who was born on 1st of May 2018 and sold on May 14, 2018, but before this also 3 more babies were sold, which means 3 plus 1, total 4 babies were sold from the Nirmal Hriday shelter house run by Missionaries of Charity. Apart from Anima, another person was arrested, and this time it was a nun. Now both of them are accused of selling the infants, the newborn babies, without following any legal procedure. So that's the case of the police. Ranchi Police is very clearly saying that for them it came as a case of 1 baby. In the investigation it came out that there are 3 more babies involved, which means 4 babies. Out of these 4 babies, 3 babies are traced, but 1 baby is yet to be traced. So Ranchi Police first of all is figuring out that what exactly, how exactly these babies were sold, where is the 4th baby, what all is the involvement of both the accused here. They are trying to make a foolproof case. Apart from that, they are also trying to figure out that there are 2 more branches of the missionary in the city. They are trying to figure out whether there is involvement, this kind of involvement from other branches as well. So that's the case of Ranchi Police. Their focus is these 4 babies. Now, if we talk about CWC, we met the CWC members also, Faye, and they said their allegation is that it's not just about the 4 babies, there are more babies involved. To which the Ranchi Police has to say that if CWC is making such a big allegation, they have to they have to take the support of that report which they have been asked by the state government to file before August end. So CWC is saying that they are going to stick to their report. They will file the report, and they still believe that there are many more children who are illegally sold by people who are involved in these shelter houses. CWC also, as a precautionary measure, relocated the 13 females who were there in the Nirmal Hriday branch, the Nirmal Hriday shelter house. Out of these 13, 8 were minors and 5 were adults, and all 13 of them were pregnant. after they were relocated, one of them delivered a baby. So that's the condition of the people who were relocated from the shelter house. So CWC now is saying that they have started their investigation and they are going to inquire how many people and how many babies. Apart from that, Ranchi police is sticking to the fact that they have received an FIR of one sold baby, plus the information of 3 more babies came into light during the course of investigation. So they are going to stick to that. So these are the facts as far as this particular investigation is concerned. And if we talk about the case, Faye, there are people, specifically the former CWC chairperson, Mr. O.P. Singh. He said that in the year 2014, he went to Nirmal Hriday shelter house and he tried to conduct an inspection because he got a secret call. He got a tip-off stating that there was something irregular and illegal going on there. But according to Mr. Singh, he was not allowed by the shelter house authorities to conduct the inspection. He was thrown out, to which he wrote to the state units of CWC, WCD and all the other respective child right organizations of the state units. He doesn't know whether this complaint of his was forwarded to WCD ministry in Central or not, and he never received a reply. He showed Mirror Now those letters where he was talking about the fact that how he was stopped from doing his own work and he never got any support from his seniors as well. And now he's saying that in fact what happened after some months, that he himself was stopped from working on this particular case, and he very strongly believes that if he wouldn't have been stopped at that time, this particular this wrongdoing, according to him, would have come into limelight much earlier. So that's the case of him. But as of now, Ranchi police is whether going to consider his statement or not. That is something which they will figure out during investigation.
All right, Sandhya, many thanks for bringing us that information. I also want to bring to our audience's notice that the Missionaries of Charity refused to comply with the adoption rules that were changed in 2015 by the Women and Child Ministry, and as a result of that is no longer a verified part of the adoption system, which means no adoption should be carried out from any of the Missionary of Charity shelters. Joining me on the show right now, and these are the questions that we are asking today. Even if 1 of 4 babies went missing and had been sold from the Missionaries of Charity in Ranchi, Jharkhand, is it possible that that could have been done with only 2 people in the know? Shouldn't the organization have had a record of every young woman or every mother who passed through their doors and every baby who was born in their care? How could they have lost 4 babies and claim that the people running the organization did not know about it? Should the Missionaries of Charity open up their doors to audit and scrutiny by law and order authorities right now across the country? Should the Catholic Church open up its doors and all of its organizations to scrutiny from law and order authorities across the country in the interest of transparency? And should there be a larger investigation right now to find out how deep this rot really runs? Is it just 1 person or 2 people? Is it only the agency in Ranchi? Is it all of the agencies across the country? Will the Ranchi police be able to do justice to an investigation like this, or do we need to bring in a higher authority like the CBI to do a nationwide investigation? These are the questions that we're asking tonight. Joining me on the show, Reverend Theodore Mascarenhas is the Secretary General of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. He's also the Auxiliary Bishop of Ranchi Archdiocese. We have Kanchan Singh, who is a Social Welfare Officer, joining us from Ranchi. Dr. Abraham Mathai is the President of the Indian Christian Voice. Vikram Singh, former Director General of Police of Uttar Pradesh. Joy Prakash Majumdar is the Vice President of the West Bengal BJP. Dhananjay Chingal is the Executive Director of Bachpan Bachao Andolan, and Dolphy D'Souza is the former President of the Bombay Catholic Sabha. I welcome all of you to this conversation. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start with Reverend Theodore Mascarenhas. Reverend Mascarenhas, thank you for joining us. My first question to you as a representative of the Catholic Church: what is the Church's stand on this case at this point? Do you believe or do you agree that every organization, charitable or otherwise, that functions under the Church should open itself up to scrutiny in the general interest of transparency?
Yeah, thank you, Faye. First and foremost, let me say very clearly that what happened with Anima Indwar and the baby or babies, as the police say, is sad, tragic, condemnable, unacceptable. Let me make that very, very clear. Having said that, I must also say I was in Ranchi for the last 2-3 days talking to Mother Teresa sisters. I can tell you, Faye, that the Missionaries of Charity as an organization, as a congregation, is absolutely not involved in this. I can also tell you that they have been having regular visits of the CWC. The Hindu House, as late as 22nd June, received a certificate of excellence from the CWC and the state executive officer. So basically, what I'd like to say is this: we are open to any inquiry. We have nothing to hide. I'm speaking of the Mother Teresa sisters. I've spoken to them. They have their records. The CWC has their records. And all the stories going around, I think, are maligning the Mother Teresa sisters unnecessarily. Like it was said, 280 babies were missing. Yesterday, Rajdeep Sardesai, today, he has tweeted that he has spoken to the ADG, and the ADG says it was not 280, we are limited to 4 babies.
Let me just put on record, Reverend Mascarenhas, let me put on record that the ADG has also spoken to us, and they have said that they will need to verify the claim of 280 babies. It has not been verified by the police just yet. That is the status. But I want to come back to what you said about the fact that you said you can confirm that the sisters in the shelter had no knowledge of what was happening. Can you please explain to me how is it possible for 4 babies to go missing? And for the people who are running the shelter, whether they're religious or otherwise, if you're running a shelter, how can 4 babies go missing from your shelter and you have no knowledge? So I'm right now bringing into question the process in which this shelter is being run and the CWC people who signed that certificate that you're talking about.
You see, Faye, from what I understand from the sisters after speaking to them, there are 2 types of women that come into the house, into the shelter, any shelter. Those unwed mothers and those who really, their babies and others need help. Now, the unwed mothers decide whether they want to take their baby and go home, or they want to leave the baby, in which case the baby is to be handed over to the CWC. The babies that go with their mother, the mother gives a declaration, I'm taking the baby with me and going. Now what I found very interesting, and this is what CWC should explain, not only with these babies but other babies also, that when the mother accompanied by somebody goes and hands over the CWC, the sisters get no acknowledgement for having received a baby. I think this is a part of the problem, a little part of the problem, because Anima has told the sisters, I have given the baby to CWC. And this is how the sisters, they have trusted her since 2012. She has been working with them. They have trusted her, and she used to take the babies when the other sister was not there. So I think this is where the baby, instead of being handed over to the CWC, was given to some other couple, as I understand from the reports.
No, but with all due respect, Reverend Mascarenhas, you cannot expect the country to believe that this is how 4 babies went missing and the superior in this particular shelter did not know about it. This is how you lose a notebook, not how you lose a human being. This is child trafficking we're talking about, selling of children. We can't possibly take it this lightly, saying just because the CWC did not give us a receipt, we didn't know where the baby wound up. And let me also remind you that we're also talking about Sister Cornelia, who is a member of the order, who is also a nun. So it's not only the employee who is at fault here. The employee has confessed that Sister Cornelia was in full know of what was going on. And I want to understand how it is possible that everybody else in that shelter didn't know that babies were being sold. Where was this money going? How could babies have been handed over and nobody knew about it?
See, Faye, from what I understand, after talking to the sisters, after learning the situation, is this. Sister Concilia and Anima were in charge of this ward where the babies were being taken to the CWC. We have not been able to we did not get access to Sister Concilia. Rather, the sisters did not get access for the last 8 days. Yesterday, finally, they got the FIR, what the FIR said. After almost 7-8 days, the police would not give them, the police would not allow them to talk to them, talk to Concilia. And therefore, we don't have a complete version of what Concilia has to say, Sister Concilia has to say. That I can say that much. But even if it has happened with these two individuals, I want to clarify, and I can assure you, Faye, I have spoken to the sisters. These are very simple women. They had absolutely no knowledge that babies were given away. Till the CWC came in and filed a complaint or whatever to the police, and the police came in.
Well, Reverend
Having
Mascarenhas,
said that,
answer this
you
question
also
for
brought
me.
up the point
Do you believe that all of the organizations under the Sisters of Charity at this point, the Missionaries of Charity, should be opened up for scrutiny by law and order at this point? All of their books need to be looked at. All of the children need to be accounted for, because trafficking of children is a very, very serious crime.
Absolutely, Faye, absolutely, and the sisters are absolutely ready for this. They have nothing to hide. They have told me this. But what I would object to is what is happening right now in Jharkhand. 20-30 policemen go along with the CWC, practically assault a house, take away even babies from the Hinu house. The Hinu house, which received a certificate of excellence on 22nd of June as the environment being very good for children, and the
That
executive
certificate
officer
of excellence, Reverend Mascarenhas, is obviously humbug, because there were children being sold from that house. So that certificate of excellence should receive absolutely no prominence at this point because of what we have discovered. Please tell me why you don't believe that house should be shut down completely or temporarily until the investigation is over. Why should these children still be there if we know for sure that babies have been sold from that house? Why would anyone allow children to continue to live there until after the investigation is done, in the very least? How can you object to the children being taken away?
Faye, I'm not talking about Nirmal Hriday, from where the babies and women are already taken away. Is practically there are no more children there. I'm talking about a second and a third and a fourth house. I'm talking about those houses. My problem is there, that it was not this house that got a certificate of excellence. It's the Hinu house that I'm talking about, where 20 policemen went and took away children even from their mothers. And till today, after 5 days, the mothers and the parents are not allowed to see these children. They are 2-month-old babies. They are not allowed to, the parents are not allowed to see them. Today, we were hoping that they would allow. I don't know what happened, but till they had been taken 5 days ago, the parents are not allowed to see their own children who have been taken away. There's one child whom Mother Teresa sisters recovered with great care from pneumonia, acute pneumonia, brought her back to sort of her health. She was taken forcefully away, and now she's back in the ICU because obviously CWC could not give that care. This is my problem.
Reverend Mascarenhas, answer this question for me. I understand.
Completely open.
I understand that the Missionaries of Charity run 18 homes for children across the country. If you are telling me, and we are to take it at face value, that the people who were in charge of this particular house were not aware that babies were being sold from under their noses, how do you know that babies are not being sold out of 18 of these houses and the people who are in charge have no idea?
See, Faye, one thing is what we know, another thing is what we speculate. Now, there was a speculation 280 babies missing in all the newspapers. One TV channel was proclaiming it loud and clear till yesterday. Today, The police has clarified that they are not sure of this 280, they are sure of the 4, we are not sure. I am saying it openly and very clearly, and Mother Teresa's sisters are saying it, come, have an audit, look into the houses, let us be open, let us be transparent. We have absolutely no problem. If the sisters have made a mistake, they will accept it. If they have not made a mistake, don't spread stories saying this has happened, this could have happened, this would have happened. Let us go for a proper legal audit. That's all.
Let me open up this debate now to the rest of my panelists as well. Kanchan Singh, Social Welfare Officer. We also have Dr. Abraham Mathai of the Indian Christian Voice.
Can I go?
Well, if you'd answer then one last question before you leave. Before you leave, Reverend Theodore Mascarenhas, one last question for you. My question to you is this.
Yeah, please. Yes, yeah.
And I'm coming back to the point of you telling us that the sisters in charge, and we understand that the Mother Superior of this particular house was also taken into custody and then released. If she didn't know what was going on, how can you confidently tell me that the other charitable organizations know what's going on in their own houses and they don't have staffers and nuns who are selling children? All across the country, all across the charitable organizations of the church, what assurance can we give the people of the country that this is not happening all across the country right now?
Faye, let me speak first of all for our Christian organizations. I think all of us are transparent. We want to be transparent. We want to be open to all sorts of transparency, especially in the case of children. Let's be clear. But don't limit it only to Catholic and Christian institution. Let every institution that houses a child be open, transparent, and let the legal audit be applied to every house in the country.
Legal audits apply to every house in the country. That's Reverend Theodore Mascarenhas, Secretary General of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, speaking on behalf of the Catholic Church in India. Let me open this up right now to the rest of my panel. Kanchan Singh, Dr. Abraham Mathai, Vikram Singh, Joy Prakash Majumdar, Dhananjay Chingal, and Dolphy D'Souza. Vikram Singh, I'm going to come to you first. Were any of those justifications satisfactory to you, Vikram Singh?
They seem to be convincing on the face of it, but there's much more to it than what meets the eye. In yesterday's show, in Rahul Kanwal's show, there are 3 allegations made. Number 1, that documents pertaining to the babies about 5 years ago
with all due respect, Vikram Singh, I want to interrupt you there because I cannot verify information that was produced on other television channels. I can only verify and support information that's produced on this channel. So I would ask you please to limit your conversation to the information that we have provided, which is that of the 2 people arrested, one of them, Anima, has confessed to selling for children, and she has said that Sister Concelia was in the know about it. The police have confirmed that 4 children were sold, 1 has been recovered, the other 3 are still being traced. That is all we know for now. Vikram Singh.
In the backdrop of this, these are very serious allegations, and the confession made by this person implicates Sister Cornelia, and also the arguments in that case given by His Grace are not very convincing and not very reassuring. In the backdrop of this, I would say that an incisive and a deeper investigation is required, because even as you very rightly said, a single baby missing is a matter of very serious concern and involves human trafficking. To that extent, yes, the hallowed grounds of the Missionaries of Charity has the highest of credibility, but the allegations raised are also equally serious. To that extent, the investigation will have to be all-pervasive, and I would also see what kinds of SOP do they have to ensure that this kind of malpractice does not creep in. There is no sale, there is no illegitimate transfer of human beings right across, and what precautions are they taking? Are there affidavits done? Are there due identification processes? Is there a process and they subscribe to the government directives on adoption rules and laws? And if not, regular scrutiny, inspections and audits, have they been done? And have they been done by the CWC? And what has happened in case there has been a non-compliance of government directives? And if there were observations earlier, as we are told that O.P. Singh has made certain observations in your channel, then what happened to those observations and the issues raised by the O.P. Singh, the then chairperson of the CWC? what happened to the issues, what happened to his supposed and alleged visit in which he was obstructed. Has police taken a cognizance of that? Has police registered a case of 332 IPC against his obstruction to his government job duty? And
Well,
if not, then why?
So
There
the
are
status,
several
yes,
questions that
absolutely.
need to
So
be answered
the
now.
status of that, Vikram Singh, as we have discovered, is that the Women and Child Ministry in Delhi doesn't confirm the receipt of any of those letters. They say that they have not received letters from the individual, and hence we are not able to verify right now whether or not those letters were actually sent out. Dhananjay Chingal of the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, how serious do you believe this, this particular case is at this point? And do you not agree that every single house of the Missionary of Charity needs to be opened up, scrutinized, every baby needs to be accounted for at this point?
It's not the question of only Missionary of Charities. There are very clear directives from Supreme Court of India. The Juvenile Justice Acts also talk about the registration of all the homes with the government, and this came in the orders which were done by in Supreme Court by BBA, and also in Juvenile Justice Act where the registration of homes is compulsory. So once the homes registration is done, then in that case it is open for the verification, and all the children who are being placed of any age has to be done through the CWC orders. No home can take any child without the permission of the CWC. So a record is maintained in the CWCs as well, and the tracing of children is important. So somewhere down the line, it's not only a question of Missionary of Charities or any home. There have been cases where the children have been abused in different shelter homes, be it of any being run by any organization. So it's a failure of the monitoring systems where they have not being monitored properly, and they have not been able to take it up. So